we did a campaign shortly after this shutdown about safe at home not being safe for everyone. It was heartbreaking there, those first few days of the shutdown. We never shut down our office. We've always had someone there except for the 30 days or 60 or however many it ended up being. The governor did not allow us to be there. Our phones went radio silent. I went 2 weeks without a phone call. And we usually get typically, 10 to 12 calls a day. And what we really began to realize at that moment is that people were trapped in their homes. So if you're suddenly home with someone that can monitor you 24/7, it's nearly impossible to reach out for help. And because medical clinics were shut down, mental health facilities were shut down, you couldn't even go to the library, like all these places that you could have possibly gone where you could have asked for help or talk about what was happening to you were suddenly shut down. And in the first 2 months of after that initial shutdown, I did more mandated reports of child abuse in those 2 months than I had done the entire year before. They've said over the years that it takes, maybe 8 to 12 times to attempt to leave before somebody actually leaves. I don't buy it because over the years, the last 10 years that I'm doing this, I say 20. It's so dang hard to just leave everything that you own, just walk out the door with the clothes on your back, and then try to start a new life. I don't know if you've ever had to do that, but that is insanely hard to do. And so we just try to honor victims and to understand that sometimes this may not be the time that works. It's very few people that can do that and sustain that. I always say that victims of domestic violence are some of the most intuitive people that you will ever meet in your life, and they have to be in order to survive. They are very aware of their surroundings. They're very aware of your perceptions and of your beliefs. If there is even an inkling that you are not going to believe them, they will shut you off, and you will not get anything else from that person. So oftentimes, the violence is invisible. Like once in a while you can see a bruise, yes, but most of that violence that happens is completely and totally invisible. Oftentimes we tell people, and we'll tell family members, they're like, we need a giant intervention. We need to step in and stop this violence. You should be aware that this domestic violence is not something you just want to step into. Even as advocates, we know that this work is somewhat dangerous, and we organize our work in such a way as to try to minimize. We can't alleviate all danger, but our telephone number is blocked. There are certain things that we do to make sure that victims, to the best of their ability, have full confidentiality and protection when they're receiving services from us. The only other thing I can say is just to offer kindness and acceptance. One of the tactics of an abusive partner is to completely isolate the victim, to cut off all family and friends. It makes it more difficult for the victim to flee that violence. So that's why I say don't ever give up on people. If you have that person that's withdrawing away, or you're like, I don't know what's happening with this person, I don't understand, please don't ever give up on them. They could be experiencing some really somewhat frightening and traumatic things. And just keep that in mind as you feel like, something's not quite right.